YouTube, it's Eman, and I'm back as promised to talk about why do people that we currently date or are dating, why do they still keep in touch with their exes? Such a good question, right? Because so many people have asked this question. Why is my boyfriend still talking to his ex-girlfriend? Is there something more there? Or whatever else, right? Hold on. These dogs they're around me because they want something. You want? Come. 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 Come here, Xena. Xena, heel. I know. Wait. Heel. Sit. Sit. Come here, Mia. Heel. Sit. Good girls. Good girls. You want more? Okay. You want more? Okay. 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 Here. Wait, woman. What? Okay. Look at me. Look at me. Paw. Good girls. Okay. Can you lay down? Thank you. Xena. Control yourself, woman. Lay down. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. What was I talking about? Boyfriends and girlfriends talking to exes. That's right. Okay. So, even though in Islam we don't have boyfriends and girlfriends per se, we do date. Okay, don't get it twisted. Well, some of us do. Some of us are just married off into the sunset with the first person that qualifies and is deemed appropriate in the parents' eyes, right? But for the rest of us normal ones, we actually date. We look around, we see what's good on the market, and you know, I know back home in Egypt, a lot of this goes down during college. When I went back there to visit one year, a good friend of mine who I grew up with here in America, she was sent back to Egypt, but so she finished up her education. Wow, I need to finish my coffee, honestly, before I really start this video. She finished her education out there, so when I visited, she was still in college, and I got some pretty good experience because I got to go to college with her. I got to see like the difference between colleges over there and over here, and it was really good. But what I did notice is that all of them are like looking around, because after college in Egypt you usually get married, so they're literally on the search and hunt to see like, who am I gonna match up with or pair off with. And Egyptians do not come for me, okay? This is just the truth, and if you didn't know it was the truth, well, I'm breaking it to you now. Anyways, so yeah, boyfriends and girlfriends exist within the Muslim realm, just like not in the same meaning. It's defined differently, if that makes sense. So even though they're not all sleeping around with each other, they're dating one another, and then some of them have more jealous tendencies and qualities than others, and some just don't care if they go off and like talk to or date their best friend or whatever. But how are you guys doing? We're still in quarantine. In fact, now in Cali, there's curfews now, I believe 8 o'clock around my area, 8:30, and it just sucks. It sucks, man. I didn't even keep my curfew when I was a teenager, so for me to like follow this county-wide curfew, it's just like, whatever. So first I'm gonna pull up an article. Let me see where this article's from. Thought Catalog, I guess. Now this one is labeled as why they do it. 17 men talk about the real reasons they stay in touch with their exes. So these are quotes, okay? And after I go through these quotes, then I'm going to pull up a different article that gave me the answers, the psychological reasons as to why people keep in touch with their exes. And I want you guys to just notice from this first article any patterns, if you can see any patterns, or like their why, because a person's why, their reason why they do anything is the most important. Your intentions, what motivated you to either deem that as an acceptable behavior, or how you rationalize that it's okay to talk to an ex, etc. Because there's some people out there that are like, no. And you know what? When I first posted this question on Facebook, back when I had a Facebook, when I posted this question on Facebook, so many people responded, so it just seemed like such a hot topic. Everybody wanted to give their 2 cents in and tell me why it's okay to talk to an ex. And what's crazy is that everybody who felt the need to comment in that thread on Facebook, all of their reasoning is in this article, and it's in the research from the study that I'm going to pull up later. I just think that there might be some legitimate patterns to recognize here, and things that can help us identify whether or not it's a healthy relationship while we're dating these people, etc. So for me, when I first posted the Facebook thread, I honestly was so against it, because I don't believe that people can keep in contact with their ex. I always feel like one of the exes is holding on to something, or is still interested in pursuing something in the relationship. Meanwhile, another person might be just like, no, friend zoning them. So that was my stance. I felt like you couldn't keep in touch with an ex. And maybe it's because of my past experience. Like every single time I had let a person go, let them go, like as if it's from a job, let the person go, they always came back around and they wanted to be friends, and I'm like, for what? I have friends. So that was my thought process. Let's see, let me just start reading, because I talk a lot. Okay, I wish somebody was here and just would tell me, like, shut up, move on. That's what I need to hire a person to do. Not even for editing, just tell me when to shut up and move on. Okay, let's go. Number 1. Usually I don't keep up with them afterward, but there was one, and it 100% had to do with how attracted I was to her. Marlon, and he was 27 years old. So, interesting. Number 2, I stayed in touch with one ex of mine for years, for the simple reason that I believe in keeping my options open. So even though I was dating other people afterward, I kept in touch with her because you never know. I do generally keep in touch unless it's some crazy ass breakup, and I have hooked up with some exes more than a few times when I was single again. Darren, 25. Okay, so interesting. Number 3, I've kept in touch with 2 of them, and my current girlfriend, who's awesome, has met one of them and knows we used to date, but it's not like what people might think. I used to just always end up dating my friends, and so I was always friends with girls first. When we broke up, we were able to go back to being friends. Jeffrey, 25. You know, that's pretty mature of Jeffrey. Very mature. Okay. Let's go to number 4. We have most of the same friends, and so it's almost impossible not to see my ex. If I want to keep any of my friends, since they aren't the type to choose sides, actually looking back, I blame getting back together with her, which I stupidly did, on just being around her more than I should have, getting drinks, and then remembering the good times. Ooh, that's murky waters. Okay. Oh wait, who wrote that? That was Jacob, and he was 23. Okay, Jacob. Number 5. This was in college, but there was one girl that I dated that I kept up with and basically never stopped seeing, even though I was in a relationship with other girls. We just had serious chemistry, although I think for her it was kind of a dominance thing. Like, she liked knowing that we were getting together even though I was seeing other people. It was a little sick. And that was from Chris, who was 24. Yeah, some people do it for the ego. Like, look, I can take you back whenever I want, and I can let you go whenever I want. Ooh. That would suck. Sorry, Chris. Number 6. I used to stay in touch with some girls, especially a particular one, but one day I woke up and just felt like I was completely living in the past, and that on some level I was carrying a torch for them. I unfriended them, and I don't think they even noticed, but it was a big thing for me. Greg, 26. Interesting. 7. I really do keep in contact with some exes just so this isn't some big secret. Girls do the same thing. Carl. Okay, Carl. He was 22. Carl is still young. Okay. Number 8. I never really have, but my last girlfriend did. To me, keeping an ex as a friend can be a dead giveaway that they aren't over them. She and I didn't date long, thankfully. So she and him didn't date long, thankfully. Okay, so Robert, 22. Interesting, Robert. Robert, a lot of people would say you're insecure, Robert. Interesting. Okay. Number 9, my high school girlfriend is the only one of my exes that I've kept up with, and we're really close friends. It's not romantic at all, but she's somebody I can call when I've got something on my mind, and she's good for giving me a woman's point of view when I need it. Eric, 23. Eric, you're barely out of high school. No wonder. Like, you make it seem like you've been living a long life, dude. Okay. Number 10. It always sort of cracks me up when I hear any of my bros talking about staying friends with somebody they broke up with. I feel like that's the lamest way to break up with someone, and then the friendship basically consists of never talking to them again, except for trying to hook up with them when they're drunk. A lot of girls never seem to catch on to this. Neil, he's 21. I think the ages is also important for this, like their mentality at that age. So it's pretty interesting so far. Number 11. I love all my exes. That's an odd way to start it, Peter. Okay. I love all my exes. I try to keep in touch with them and chat with them at least once a year. We only talk through Skype or FaceTime, though, because I'm pretty sure it would be inevitable if we saw each other in person, we'd hook up. Which would be bad because we're all still in happy relationships. Annoying. Okay, but when I wouldn't give to... Oh my god, do I really want to read this last line? I do, because Peter, 24, you are a pig. Okay, but what I wouldn't give to have an orgy with all the women I've ever dated. Exhibit A, people? Exhibit A? Okay. Oh, Peter. Okay. Ugh. 12. I believe in cutting your exes out of your life like Kill Bill style. No matter if you ended things on good or bad terms, amicably. Platonic friendships are just not a thing when it comes to your exes. In my opinion, at least. Tim, 22. Interesting, Tim. Because I used to have the same mentality with him, but then after this research I started to understand, like, okay. And when I was keeping it real with myself, I do have some exes that I'm still in contact with, like, and what's funny is that they're all from like middle school, probably because they were so innocent and it was just like, I like this person. I used to have the same mentality where I would just cut people off and like start deleting. Oh, delete was my favorite button to hit. Like delete, 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 and just delete them out of my life. Erase. Like, ugh, can't believe I did that. That says a lot more about us than anything else. But again, as I've matured and I grew up, I started to understand, you know, there are some people that you can keep around. And I mean, if I'm honest, like I said, I do have people that I still talk to here and there that are exes from way back in the day, and they're just good people. They're just good people that, like, it's like you tried dating, it wasn't the right fit, so you moved on. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, it's all circumstantial. It just depends on everybody's intention, right? At the end of the day. I thought I was gonna read more of these, but I feel like you guys are getting the point with just those few examples, right? So let's go and dive into the next article. I have allergies. I don't have corona, okay? Just leave me alone. I've always had allergies ever since I was a kid. So this is the article that I wanted to go over with you guys, and it's from Psychology Today. I love diving deep in getting the psychology behind certain questions that I want answers to, because at the end of the day, it's how you think, your thought process on things is important, and why we do those things is important. So that's why I always research the psychology behind things. Let's see. What's going on when you stay in touch with your ex is the title of this article. And that's what we want to know. We want answers, damn it. Okay. This article states that in 2 studies, Lindsay Rodriguez and her colleagues surveyed young adults in romantic relationships to determine how often they communicate with exes, why they maintain contact, and what that says about their current relationship. The first study surveyed 260 undergraduates who had been with their current partner for at least a month and had a previous relationship that lasted at least 3 months. So these are really short relationships. Interesting. Okay. They found that about 40% of the students kept in touch with an ex for the vast majority, over 90%. Wait, what? Hey. Hold on, you guys. People are texting me. Okay. I'm sorry. The same friend that I went to Egypt for that I told you about in the beginning of this video, she's texting me because we're supposed to hang out today. So, sorry. Okay. Where was I? They found that about 40% of the students kept in touch with an ex. For the vast majority, over 90%, this communication began within a couple of months of the breakup and continued to occur at least once every couple of months. Most people didn't communicate with their ex too often, but a small... Oh my God. Can I just... Hey. I need to get through this. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm so popular right now. It's like one person texting me. She's that kind of serial texter that'll like reply with one sentence and then hit you back, like back to back with another sentence. It's like, why couldn't you just put it all in one paragraph and send it off to me? But I kind of do the same sometimes. Okay. Anyways, where was I? See, she's making me forget my place. Most people didn't communicate with their ex too often, but a small subgroup, 13%, had contact with exes several times a week. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So who is more likely to stay in touch with an ex, you might ask? Yes, we're definitely asking that, right? Okay. The more serious the status of the current relationship, example, married or nearly engaged versus dating, the less likely participants were to have contact with an ex. However, continued communication with an ex was unrelated to how serious the relationship with the ex had been. Okay. This is probably because these participants were relatively young, so they would not have the same level of investment that requires future contact, such as co-parenting. That can occur when more committed relationships break up. Instead, it was their feelings about their ex and about the breakup that predicted contact. People were more likely to communicate with exes they still had feelings for. They were also more likely to stay in touch with exes if they felt that the breakup was more positive, characterized by understanding and a lack of mean and nasty behavior. Finally, those who reported that they were not over the breakup were more likely than others to maintain contact with their ex. So it's as we suspected all along. Well, actually, it gets pretty interesting, because hold on. Don't make any decisions just yet. What implications does this have for people's current relationships? In general, those who stayed in touch with an ex tended to be less committed to their current partner than those who did not. But contact with an ex wasn't associated with how satisfying they found their current relationship. Interesting. Okay. In a second study, the researchers further explored how contact with exes relates to the quality of the current relationship by examining people's reasons for staying in touch. They surveyed 169 undergraduate students in relationships who said they communicated with an ex at least once every couple of months. This time, the team found a link between contact with exes and quality of the current relationship. The more frequent the contact with an ex, the less satisfied participants were with their current relationships. Interesting. Very interesting. The researchers also asked participants to rate how well each of 4 different motives described their reasons for communicating with their ex. Your friendship with your ex is strong and rewarding. Your ex is seen as a possible backup if the current relationship fails. Your ex is still part of your larger group of friends. You feel like you invested a lot of time and have been through a lot with your ex. Isn't that crazy? Because these 4 reasonings, remember the guys that I was reading quotes from earlier? Remember those reasonings? Aren't they starting to align with them now? So how did these motives relate to the quality of participants' current relationships? Those who maintained contact because they were keeping the ex in mind as a backup tended to be less satisfied with and committed to their current partner. On the other hand, if they were communicating with an ex because that person was still part of their social network, they were more likely to be satisfied with their current relationship. Perhaps having such contact indicates good social adjustment, or it is more positive because it occurs without being deliberately sought out. For the most part, communicating with an ex because they were still a friend or because they had invested a lot in the relationship wasn't related to how the respondents felt about their current partner. Okay, so basically the rest of this article talks about is communicating with your current partner. So communicating with your current partner, right? Trying to figure out why they feel the need to keep in touch with their ex. So for me, again, I say that the only reason why I keep shout out to you, Alessandro. Okay. Actually, Alessandro was the ex that I dated back in middle school, and it was so innocent because this guy used to just carry my books for me to my class, and we just had a good like connection. We were both funny, goofy, cracked jokes, and just into theater and just into weird, like choir. So we just had similar interests back then, and it was just so innocent. So that's why he's still in my life, but he's actually the main person who was encouraging me to like make this YouTube channel. And so I really truly believe it's important to figure out why you're still in contact with these people. So Alessandro is just a really good friend of mine at this point. We still communicate every now and again, just checking up on each other, just making sure that each other is doing well and we're doing fine. And I really do agree with this article and the reasoning behind it, because let's say there are some guys that are out there that are just keeping in touch with you as a backup. Like, if this current relationship isn't going well, I'll just keep you on the back burner and then come back to you, which is trashy behavior. So the other one was that they just felt their time, and I think that's a male reasoning, because that's how men gauge life, like with everything, is how much time did I spend with you or invested in you, whether that's money that they invested in you, whether that's like emotional investment, etc., right? So I feel like that's more for a male's answer. For women, it's like I don't think it's that important to us. Well, I guess I'm speaking for myself because I'm not every single woman out there, but for me, I don't feel like it's that important if I've spent, because okay, for example, I did used to date this one guy for like 5 years. And the reason why it worked out so well is because he was in the Navy, he was always gone. He was a Black American, and see, it never worked out with us because of my religion. So I was never going to convert or marry outside of my religion, but I would like have friends and talk to people, and then sometimes those talks would turn into, oh, I like you, and then it just got kind of awkward from there. But either way, I had found out that his father was a Freemason. And back then, because I didn't understand what that was, I was just like, okay, interesting information. Now I'm able to connect the dots and figure out what that really meant. So in hindsight, it makes sense as to why our relationship never really worked out. But okay, even though I spent 5 years talking and communicating with this individual, and at the end, he did try to convert, or he claimed he converted, okay? And then I found out that after I completely severed him off, I Kill Bill style, like cut him off, deleted, blocked, all the above, right? Years later, when he hit me up, because he always hits me up, he would always ask about like getting back together. And then I asked him, like, are you even still Muslim? Because he was claiming that he was Muslim, and he was like, no. And see, that's why I woke up one morning and I was like, I need to get the hell out of this quote unquote relationship, because no, like, ooh, I knew in my heart that that was not the relationship for me. Meanwhile, my mother was like, yeah, marry him, do it, come on. And I, see, this is why sometimes you just have to make decisions for yourself, you know? And I'm so glad that Allah woke me up to that current relationship, that it wasn't healthy for me, that it wasn't the right one for me. And I moved on, because my life could have been so much different than where I'm at right now. I could have really took a left turn and just got lost. So for me, 5 years was nothing. Cut him off, Kill Bill style, and moved on. And so I feel like that might be more of a male reasoning right there. Correct me if I'm wrong, females. Women, help me out here. What do you guys think about that? Your ex is still part of your larger group of friends. Now, I've never had this problem. Never. Because everybody that I've always dated was always from outside the circle. I would always have to introduce them in. And then if that didn't work out, well, we didn't have any problem of cutting them out. So, I don't know. I can't really speak for that one. Some people, it is true, right? It's a valid reason. They don't want to lose their whole group of friends over one person, so they tell themselves that they're going to be what's that word? I can't pronounce that word for some reason. Amicable. Ooh, my tongue still gets tongue-tied with certain English words. Amicable. Did I do it? Did I say it right? You just tell yourself you're going to be cordial around them, and you're usually able to make the most out of it, right? And then you're able to maintain the friendships, the other friendships that are within that group. So it all boils down to, at the end of the day, what's their reasoning? Why do they feel the need to maintain contact with their ex? Communication is a big part, and I talk about communication a lot on this channel because communication is key for everything in life. And if you didn't check out the relationships video, the toxic relationships video, I give you guys a whole bunch of tools. I break down a lot of things in that video that is very important for each person to understand in order to maintain a healthy relationship. So check that video out. But it is important at the end of the day to maintain communication with the person you're currently dating, trying to understand exactly why they feel the need to keep that ex around. And it'll give you a better understanding of where you guys are at currently in life, and not life, but in the relationship. I hope that helped out a few of you folks out there and gave you a good perspective and some understanding about this topic. Oh, and you know, another thing was, I forgot to mention that some people do maintain contact with their ex because they were previously married and they have children with them. And that, in that case, I am 1000% behind that. It is very important to maintain healthy communication within that relationship if you do share a child or an offspring with another individual. That way you can have good parenting techniques, and that way there's still structure to that child's life. But there is no real right or wrong answer as to whether or not it's healthy to maintain contact with an ex. It really boils down to, at the end of the day, the reason why. And you're only going to find out why if you have that conversation with them. My dogs are asleep. Okay. I hope I didn't put you guys to sleep as well through this video. I know I did a lot of reading off of my phone, which is not typical for me. I usually just free think it, or I read the information prior, and then I come on and I tell you guys all about it. But in this case, it was not it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys agree with the research, with the study, or do you feel like, no, screw all that, exes should just be killed off like Kill Bill style, just like how our buddy said in the beginning? What do you guys think? Let me know down below. I already told you guys my perspective and my opinion, gave you some of my examples as well. Stay kind, spread love, spread knowledge, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.